Live from Lincoln and broadcasting across the state of Nebraska, it's the Average Joe Sports Show. This is the place for Husker sports with the biggest names, the best interviews, and all the inside scoops.
I got a front row seat with a big tub of buttered popcorn and a greasy half-live chicken leg.
Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Welcome to it, Black Friday edition here, the Average Joe Sports Show, as we gear you up and thaw you out in front of Nebraska and Iowa. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, as we are here at the Single Barrel, 8 to 10. The breakfast buffet is glorious. The coffee is hot. The eggs are tasty. The whiskey is within arm's reach to keep you warm. 489-1240 to get in. 800-825-5865 as we'll take you through all the pre-games and prediction. Loaded up, Mike Babcock going to be with us. Babbers here in about 10 minutes or so. Get his thoughts from the press box in front of Nebraska and Iowa. A I-80 report from Mr. Mark Kraynak, as Kraynak will check in on his way down to Memorial Stadium. And then at 8:40-ish, we'll say hi to Brian Christopherson with Husker 24/7 Sports. Into hour two, it's a Black Friday tradition. So many years wearing the headset against Nebraska on Black Friday. Gary Barnett going to be with us. The Iron Horse, Gary Sharp, checks in. And then it is Clausborne with the Friday forecast, as we'll run through a bunch of weekend action and make some predictions on Nebraska and Iowa. Can stream us, can find us on YouTube, as always, 7 days a week with the Average Joe Sports Show. Like and subscribe. Find on Twitter, AJ Sports Radio, and also on KFOR Facebook, and stream KFORnow.com. Elijah, you got the hooded sweatshirt rocking. You're ready for going to be just your classic Big Ten phone booth, line of scrimmage, who's the toughest guy in the ball game, my friend, today. And, you know, you look at Iowa's size across the lines of scrimmage, and they're not tiny, but they're not all Ty Robinson or Nash Hutmakers, but what they are is they're experienced, they're talented, they've been great against the run all year. Iowa has been within an eyelash of kind of a signature win, and while they're 7-4, they're a lot closer to a playoff team than Nebraska is this season, with how things went down against Indiana, how things went down against Oregon, the lead they had against USC. Nebraska's facing a really good defensive football team coming in, and they're facing a team that can run the football with the mobile quarterback threat. The passing game has been pretty much an Achilles heel this year for Iowa. They've not been explosive enough on offense. Weegen is incredible in the return game. A lot of work to do today for Nebraska, and not a ton of optimism here based on the recent receipts from Happy Valley. And that's kind of the vibe this week is, all right, how's this season end? How does this season turn out? What's the narrative? What's the momentum look like? And I think Nebraska is a better football team and a better football program. It's just they haven't beaten really anybody of substance aside from Cincinnati or Northwestern this year. There's no big game trophy, my friend, this year for 2025 with a manageable schedule. Iowa would classify as that if they can get it done today, but there's just not a lot of confidence right now because of the run defense.
No, and the confidence in the fan base is low. You wonder what the confidence is amongst the team, because you are going up against a team in Iowa that year after year, this year is no exception, is confident in who they are and what they bring to the football field. This Iowa team, hey, are they a true threat through the air with Gronowski at quarterback? Not really. Do they care? Absolutely not. They are confident in their offensive line. They're confident in their defensive line. They're confident in what they have in the back end. I mean, their secondary might not be full of future first-round guys. They have one guy in Wampa that I think is very, very good. He's probably going to make a lot of tackles today. But there's nothing like that stands out about this team as, wow, they're chock full of NFL talent. But what they do is they are confident in what they are. They're confident in who they are. They execute a pretty simple game plan where they don't shoot themselves in the foot. They run the ball well. They stop the run, and it ends with a close victory at the end of the day more times than not. That's the team you're going up against. So my question going into this game, less than just can Nebraska stop the run, because I think we all know the answer to that question. No, you're not going to shut that faucet off. Can you overcome it? Is my bigger question is, can this Husker team come out and against a team in Iowa that is always extremely confident in who they are, can you go out and match that confidence, play confident football, and just go out and overcome? Because that's what it's going to take. You know where you're deficient. Iowa's a team that knows where they're deficient, but they're confident in what they are, and they go out and execute. Can Nebraska be a team? Can they be a team that is confident in what they are to go overcome their shortcomings and play a meaningful football game at home in November and go get it done, go get the win? Because if there's a discredit against Nebraska in recent years, especially with Matt Rule at the helm, they play their worst football come November. And you can't afford to have a day like that today, because 8-4 feels a heck of a lot different for the season than 7-5 does.
It's not, and it's beyond a number. It's a look, right? Yeah. It's a question of, can you play good football? And we've said at the different points this season, can Nebraska play 4 quarters of good football, and can they put it together? And if you're a Nebraska fan, you're hoping, the last rodeo is the best rodeo right now for Nebraska. And can they play their best football game? Because they didn't play their best game and got annihilated by a more talented team in Penn State. They didn't look ready, prepared, or just locked in at all against Minnesota. You were tooth and nail versus Michigan and USC, 2 teams that also out-talent you, but you found a way to hang around in it. You were chasing Michigan. You were leading USC. So put some sort of stamp on the end of this season, and the stamp Nebraska needs to put on is that they're competent for 4 quarters. They're creative offensively without getting too cute. And defensively, okay, can you man up one time? Can you man up one time against the run and be something different than you've been all season long? And that's a unit in that front 7 that has been getting blown off the football. It's an Achilles heel, but it's more of an attitude than anything. Can you match wits across the line of scrimmage and beat somebody across from you? Can you win that one-on-one more times than not, and just not get whipped? And that really is what it comes down to, and you just don't feel good about it. Can you hang on for dear life? Can you win some battles versus the war? Situational football is important, right? So that's how you kind of hung around with Michigan and USC. Is overall it was a bad day running the football to stop it if you're Nebraska, but situationally you made enough plays to force some threes, stay in it. Your offense got some explosive plays from Barney. I'm anxious to see how Nebraska's offense, with a 1-2 punch today, running the football, that's going to be key. Run, right? Can Nebraska run the football with the quarterback, with Emmett? And can Nebraska do something way better than they've done this season, magically all of a sudden, against an Iowa team that's really physical? They love this. They absolutely love this, and they love making you miserable for 4 quarters. We'll hear from Mike Babcock on the phone here in just a moment. But Elijah, I'm excited to just see how it goes. Home field is different, and it's 11 a.m. It's cold as all get out. But I think if Nebraska gives the Husker fans something to cheer about, home field could matter. Yeah,
and you said something there with Nebraska's rushing attack. It needs to be there. I mean, it's a November football game. You're going to need to be able to run the football. And you said something big earlier in the week. A yard on the ground is worth more than a yard through the air. And that is 100% true today. But I think in order to get Emmett Johnson going, get him some running room, you're going to need to get your playmakers on the outside a few plays. And Isaiah Hunter is going to have a big play somewhere along the line if Nebraska wants to win this game. Ja'Cory Barney is going to have to get the football in his hands a couple different times today. If you try to go and there's a difference between matching Iowa and playing in their style. You're not going to be able to go match Iowa in this football game. If you go try to hand the football off 52 times like Iowa's probably going to do today, I don't think you're going to win this football game. You need to take advantage of where you have matchup advantages. And I look at a guy in Isaiah Hunter, Ja'Cory Barney, Dane Key, and I think you can have some matchup advantages there on the outside. And I think if you can get the ball to those guys, make Iowa's defense worry about them, you can open some things up for your offense and make Iowa sweat just a little bit. But this is not a game where Nebraska is going to come in and say, hey, we have to go outrush Iowa. If that is your goal, you're not going to win. It's as simple as that to me. You have to take advantage of where you have advantages, and I see some playmakers on the outside being that advantage. Up front, they've tried a whole bunch of different schematic things stopping the run. It's not about manning up and stopping. I think it's about overcoming it, and I've been saying that since after the USC game. You are what you are as a run defense. Can you overcome? That's the big question for me on a day like today, and it comes down to someone making a big play on special teams, one of those playmakers on the outside making a big play. Maybe your defense gets a takeaway. They're going to attack. Hey, Iowa's getting 5-6 yards a pop, but they fumble it twice, and you get yourself 2 short fields. That could come up huge today. There's elements to overcoming as opposed to completely shutting that faucet off, because I think it's a broken faucet. It's going to be running. You got to find a way to slow it down before the plumber shows up via the transfer portal this offseason.
Love it. All right. We'll get some of the shout-outs going and get your starting 5 this morning here at the Friday morning edition of the Average Joe Sports Show. We're here at the Single Barrel. Breakfast is incredible. Scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, little waffle action going on, hot coffee. Feels good in here. So you're invited down here to the Single Barrel. We're here till 10. Don't forget, Real Red Reaction follows. We're 2:30 for the post-game show at the bar 16th and P, with Seth and Greg and the crew, Slinkies, and maybe victory pitchers to be had by all. So we'll see how things shake out. Appreciate all of you joining us via the stream and on air on KFOR. Let's welcome in Mr. Husker Football to get his thoughts not only on the temperature, but what happens today against Iowa, with Mike Babcock at MD Babs on Twitter. Babbers, you staying warm, man? You got to the press box. You're coming to us live, my friend, from the 6th floor of the West Stadium. So
yeah, when I got up here, I'm warm now. I wasn't. I was walking from my car, but fortunately, I don't have to walk that far. So, yeah, it's pleasant up here.
It is. It's pleasant indoors, and Nebraska fans will grit through it today against Iowa. Iowa fans are going to bundle up and see how it goes. Biggest worry for Nebraska today is what, and we're taking the run offense of Iowa off the table. What else could sting Nebraska today? And flip it around, what do you think could sting Iowa today on the Nebraska sideline?
I think that it's related to the run game, but time of possession. I don't think Nebraska is going to get that many opportunities. I think that Nebraska needs to take advantage of the ones that it gets. I think that's one thing. I think that obviously it's to Nebraska's advantage to be playing at home in this situation, although certainly Iowa is used to this kind of weather as well. So the weather's not the thing, but I think playing at home, I think Nebraska has a little bit of an advantage from that standpoint. But when it comes down to it, I think it ends up being a toss-up.
Mike Babcock with us here, a pregame edition of the Average Joe Sports Show, rocking with you until about 10 o'clock here. And Mike, one of the things I wrestled with this week, it's a rivalry game, and sometimes whenever you have those big rivalry games, you have to take what you know and throw out half of it, because when the emotions are running high, things change. I don't think Nebraska's run defense is one of those things you can toss to the side. That is a big matchup advantage for Iowa, but I'll also flip it around and say Nebraska's always responded whenever we've doubted them most in the Matt Rule era, following the Michigan game in year 1, following the Indiana game in year 2. Earlier this year after Minnesota, they've always come back with a response following a performance that makes you kind of question some things. And that Penn State loss was definitely a loss that made you question some things. What type of response would Nebraska need to show today to make you think, okay, you know what, that was a good fight? Even if it doesn't end in a win, what is the response you're looking for?
I think what you pointed out, I think run defense. I think that one of the things that concerned me in the loss to Penn State was I didn't think Nebraska adjusted very well, particularly at halftime and going into the second half. That's one of the things that I think you'll see an adjustment during the week, although a shortened week of practice in preparation for Iowa. I think that you'll see some adjustments that Nebraska made, and the ability to deal with the running game will be a little bit different than it was against Penn State. But certainly that's the thing, is that Iowa's running game is foremost in people's minds, and I think that could be the area where Nebraska surprises us a little bit with the way they handle it.
Mike, I look at this series and I look at the fact Nebraska's 1-9 in their last 10 against Iowa. They have been nail biters. They have been Iowa making a play on special teams. Even last year, where there were about 4 or 5 plays that flipped it, and it was pretty much a game controlled by Nebraska, aside from a couple of fumbles and the clutch kick. Stop me if you've heard that before. I think Nebraska, though, has learned from some of these shortcomings over the last couple of years in tight ball games, and they've become a pretty decent team in close games this year, comparatively speaking. Not always perfect, but from a mentality standpoint, I think Nebraska, would you agree, is closer to that Iowa brand of ball with these ball games, these tight moments. Now you got to go do it, but Nebraska has shown that. That's part of this progress for 2025. They've shown some progress in that aspect. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I do agree, Chris. Nebraska has shown that, and I think that's one of the things that you need to show it again today, because I think it's going to be a close game. And, the team that gets the job done at the end is going to be the one that succeeds. And I think Nebraska has that mindset. I think it's a mindset in part. And then you just got to go out and make the plays. But you can't be turning the ball over. That's certainly a factor. And if you don't do that, I think you got a chance.
It's Mike Babcock with us here. And Mike, winning the turnover battle is key. What do you make of Iowa's special teams? It hasn't always felt Iowa at times this year. It hasn't been perfect, but they have one of the best returners in the country with Weechin back there. Across his career, averaging 14 yards per punt return, which is wild. How does Nebraska win the special teams battle today? Because I think turnovers is huge, as you say, but if you are expecting Nebraska to get run on by this Iowa team, it means you have to win the battle of your offense against their defense, and you have to win the battle of your special teams against their special teams.
Right. I think Nebraska's special teams, obviously has improved significantly under Eckler, and so I think that from Nebraska's standpoint, that could be an advantage. Don't get it to Weechin. Don't kick it to him. That's the thing. He's certainly a talented guy, and whether you're prepared or not, you're still going to have that ability to make the play that can hurt you. So you got to be careful there from that standpoint. But maybe you'll be in a position where you don't have to punt very much. You don't have to give them that opportunity. Or maybe that opportunity comes on kickoffs if you're able to put the ball in the end zone. But you got to be aware of that. Sure, I'm certain that Nebraska is. I think that Nebraska's special teams have made a big jump this year, and could be a factor in the game as well.
Mike Babcock's with us, Hurrdat Sports at MD Babs on Twitter, Mr. Husker Football, getting our Black Friday tailgate kicked off. Average Joe Sports Show here at the Single Barrel till 10. Then the bar, post-game Real Red Reaction at 2:30. So, Mike, as we wind it down, and thanks for squeezing us in the press box, partner, what's the mood and the vibe you sense right now from Rule and the team and the staff? Just generally speaking, confidence level or pressure? Where's it leaning if you're just kind of taking the temperature right now? Do you feel like the team is ready and competent to respond, or do you think it's oh no, it's got to get to 8. Got to put a step forward here and kind of change some narrative here with this momentum in 2025. How do you feel? What's the mood right now in the program?
I think it's more on the outside. We're looking at it, and certainly the 8 wins is a significant change from 7-5, which is interesting, because I haven't been to 8 wins for a while. But I think that's the thing is we're looking at. I think that they are prepared. I think it was reflected in the comments after the Penn State game, that Rule said, hey, we're getting on the plane, and immediately the conversation is Iowa. It's always the next game we're focused. I think they are going to be focused. And, I don't know that they see the outside pressure so much. I think that's more something that we see and apply it, but I don't think it's in the room necessarily that they feel that way. If they do, then that's certainly to Iowa's advantage.
Mike, you got a prediction for us?
Yeah, I have a prediction. One of these teams is going to win this game. It's going to be close. That's about the only thing I can say. To be honest with you, I go back and forth on this thing. The only thing I can say is I think it's going to be close, and I think either of these teams could come out with the win. But if you pushed me and said I had to pick somebody, I think I might pick Iowa by a couple of points.
Are you picking a walk-off field goal yet again? That seems to be a consistent theme in Nebraska against Iowa.
Yeah, it's going to be something like that. It's going to be a finish like that. And, hopefully from Nebraska's standpoint, it's Nebraska that kicks the walk-off field goal. But, I think it's going to be that kind of a game.
What's going to happen is they're going to line up for the game winner, and ex-superhuman special teams crew will block said kick, Babbers, and run it back for the win. How about it?
There you go. That sounds like a scenario that people could live with, certainly, and you would be a genius for identifying that as the finish.
If that happens, Schmitty, there's going to be folks calling their doctors after about 4 hours.
Well, it sounds like I've been into the whiskey already here at the Single Barrel. That's what it sounds like. No, just coffee. Just coffee.
He'd be the boss there, man, picking it exactly what was going to happen, not only how the final score, but how it was going to happen.
While I'm into predicting, I can predict Mama is going to spend too much money on Black Friday crap, Babbers, and we'll have another sick dog in 2 weeks. So, hey, we're gonna go bat 1,000 while we're calling our shots here this morning. So, Mike Babcock,
Nebraska can purchase a win on Black Friday.
That's the way to put it. I love it, Mike. We'll see you in a little bit here. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, see you here.
All right, Mike Babcock with us, Mr. Husker Football, on the Average Joe Sports Show Black Friday edition. A quick timeout. Mr. Mark Kraynak is going to give us an I-80 report. He's making his way down. Kraynak will check in his thoughts on Nebraska, Iowa. Iron Horse Gary Sharp next hour. Coach Gary Barnett, a little bit after 9, our Black Friday tradition. For so many years, he has been matched up against Nebraska on Black Friday. We'll see what he thinks of the Huskers and Hawkeyes. And then Clausborne in the forecast. A quick timeout. We continue on Friday edition here, Average Joe Sports Show, live at the Single Barrel.
When it's not gardening weather, it's actually a great time to be thinking and planning for it. Hi, this is Chris Goforth. Join me and the experts from Earl May every Saturday at 8:30 to learn the tips and tricks to prepare for the next season. In the Garden with Earl May, Saturday mornings at 8:30, right here on KFOR.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. You'll find exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 50% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
John, what are you doing? Get in my car.
So why are you walking to work? Thanks, man. It's these insanely high gas prices. They're draining my bank account. I can't afford to drive anymore.
Dude, don't walk. Just do what I do, because I never pay full price for gas anymore. I use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Oh, wait. You're telling me you get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PROFIT for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code PROFIT. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PROFIT for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PROFIT.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
On the golf tee, it's Skechers World Champions Cup. Watch it live December 4th and 5th on ESPN and ESPN Plus, 12 to 4 p.m. It's PGA Champions Tour golfers from all over the world. Team USA versus Team Europe versus Team International. Watch it live December 4th and 5th on ESPN and ESPN Plus, 12 to 4 p.m. The competition will be tense, but feet will be comfy. Tune in to Skechers World Champions Cup. Final round of golf on Sunday, December 7th on ABC, 1 to 5 p.m.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. That's 800-659-7540.
KFOR invites you to join Legacy Retirement's John Kopetsky and his special guests Saturday mornings for the Aging Adventure. Brought to you by Legacy Retirement Communities. Lifestyle and health topics plus fascinating people. The Aging Adventure, 8 a.m. Saturdays on KFOR.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. You'll find exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 50% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
KFOR is now available in high-definition stereo.
This is the good stuff.
Listen in your HD radio-equipped vehicle. We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back with you, Black Friday tailgate here with the Average Joe Sports Show. Single Barrel, where we're at. Plenty of breakfast to be had. The line continues to be filled up for some eggs. As we'll catch up with Gary Barnett coming up here a little bit after 9. The Iron Horse, Gary Sharp, Brian Christopherson, And Clausborne will join us for the Friday forecast, powered by Bud Light. Elijah Herbel back in studio warm. Iowa boarding the buses right now, racing towards Memorial Stadium. Mark Kraynak with us as he is checking in on his way down on I-80. Kraynak, happy belated Thanksgiving, my friend. How you doing? How you feeling, more importantly, for Nebraska, Iowa today?
Happy Thanksgiving to you fellas as well. In the car right now, wife and son in tow. And Aubrey, wife, she has only been to one game. She's been to Northern Iowa, which, right, not a very exciting game, not a big rivalry, decent weather. Now she's getting the other side of that today, so that'll be good. How am I feeling about it? How am I feeling about this? How are you feeling? Nebraska's about to face a competent outfit that likes to run the ball.
I'm laying the points. It hasn't
really worked out.
Yeah, I'm laying the points.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
What are we at right now? 6.5? Is that
it's down to 5.5 yesterday. Down to 5.5 yesterday. Elijah, do you have a
still
updated
at 5.5? It got as high as 6.5 on Wednesday, but to 5.5 now.
Got it. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I don't know, man. It was similar to kind of how I felt about last week, where you just look at the level of physicality that the opponent has played with or is capable of playing with compared to Nebraska, and it's just there's not a lot to like. I'm switching. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we still got you.
Yep.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Sorry, I had to switch some audio sources there for a second. But, I mean, Penn State kind of played out how I kind of figured it would, right? Like, Nebraska's not sturdy. They're not – Nebraska's been marked by instability. I think it's just kind of the best way to put it. Whether you're talking about coaches, whether you're talking about personnel, there's so many changes year to year, and Matt Rule was operating from a deficit. And then you compare that to a group like Penn State, who has been recruiting 4 and 5 stars regularly for several years under Franklin, regardless of how they performed early in the year. They're just a little more stable in that way, at least. Then with Iowa, I mean, it's obvious, right? Kirk Ferentz, 50,000th year at the helm. They do what they do. They know exactly what they're doing on both sides of the ball. And then you take a Nebraska team that's been marked by instability against that. It's hard to pick them. It's hard to pick them right now until the overall program stabilizes, either recruiting-wise, coaching-wise, or the combination.
It's a team in Iowa that is very confident in who and what they are. Taking on a Nebraska team today, that the only thing I'm confident in is that the run defense is leaky, and that's no good against a team like Iowa. But if Nebraska does find a way to get it done, what are you circling as that way for Nebraska to go out there and surprise everyone?
I mean, I'm not saying this is likely, but this is what I'll be watching. But it is Nebraska's front seven against their offensive line. I think Iowa's defense, will kind of be typical against Nebraska's offense. I think you could expect Nebraska to get anywhere from 14 to 24 points. 24 about, I think that'd probably be on the high end. And then it's just a question of whether or not Nebraska. Listen, by the time they get to week 12, like we're in right now, Elijah, you as an offensive lineman, I'm sure can appreciate it regardless of how much we dislike Iowa. The way they run that outside zone by the time they get to the end of the year is beautiful. I mean, it really is. Like they are in such unison by the time they get this late in the year, and that's when Nebraska gets them. So I'll be watching that front seven to see if they get sealed off, to see if they have that gap integrity, and just make sure that there aren't those cutbacks available for Iowa, because, I mean, that's all they're looking for. It's one little lane on the outside zone. But if you shut that down, and Nebraska did a pretty good job of that last year. They really did. It was what was that? That was a screen pass that the tailback took to the house, right? I don't think it was an outside zone. Right?
No, it was a swing pass. It was a Tommy Frazier tribute with broken tackles. And that was the one play they needed on a 3rd and 8 to get on the board after being down 10-0. Kraynak, I'm interested in what Latif does today. You've got the quarterback, I don't even want to say controversy, but drama swirling, none of TJ's own making. You've got the CBS article that came out Wednesday. You've got
garbage article, by the way.
And listen, the kid is going to be facing Phil Parker and an amazingly sound Iowa defense, but Latif can do work if they let him with his legs. I mean, he's fine as a thrower, but as a runner is where I'm thinking he could be a difference. And he's been great. He's in 2 starts, he's 1-1, but he hasn't turned the football over at all. That's big. Had turnover issues against SC, but he's cleaned those up. And even if it's just one, that's usually the difference in this ball game, right? It's a turnover by Nebraska that Iowa falls on or forces. So what's Dana do today? Does he just let him go play? I mean, he says that, just go play ball. Well, great, but you don't have to be as conservative, in my humble estimation, if you're going to go win this football game today. And you need to see it.
Well, right. And I think you're alluding a little bit to how the game was called against Penn State, which was that. It's very perplexing from where we sit. Who knows when you're in practice every day with the guys and game plan wise, and listen, I'm not trying to say I'm smarter than Dana Holgerson here, right? Like, he obviously knows what he's doing, but it's perplexing anytime it is just straight drop back, right? Like, I understand straight drops on quick slants, screens, things like that. Other than that, they need to get TJ on the move. I mean, it should be roll right, roll left, bootleg, waggle, any of that stuff regularly. I mean, that means if you are going to pass, I do not understand, especially if it's like a 2nd and long, a 3rd and long, something like that. Having him drop, having him just stand in the pocket, it just, right? Like what is the percentage conversion on those plays for Nebraska compared to when you get them on the move? The success rates have to be different. I haven't looked that up specifically, but get him on the move so that if he needs to tuck and run, he can. Right? You don't want those. We've seen what Nebraska does from the tackle position against the pass rush. It doesn't work out really well. It just doesn't. Right? So, understand that. Don't call those plays. No matter how they look on the grease board, no matter what you're facing, just do not put Nebraska in that situation where you got Turner Corcoran on an island, or you got Pritchett on an island, to be honest, right? Like, they are not great pass pro tackles. Iowa is great rushing the pass. Don't let them do it. I think it really is that simple. I couldn't agree more.
Mark, to zoom out here and go a little bit of big picture, whenever we're talking on a post-game show at 2:30 this afternoon, in your eyes, what is the difference when you look back at the season between 7-5, 8-4? Those are the 2 possible outcomes today.
I think it's holding serve on special teams, right? We've had to go into this game multiple years in a row knowing that Nebraska was at a deficit special teams-wise and that Iowa would dominate that area of the game. So hold serve there, make that a draw. And then kind of like I was mentioning, get TJ on the move a little bit and then stop the outside zone. Everything kind of goes off of that. I would also say that Nebraska does not let Gronowski gash them. That's a little bit different that we're going to see today compared to what we've seen in this Iowa series. They typically have not had a quarterback that can run. This guy can, right? So what is that going to do to some of their play actions, some of their crossing routes, some of their drags? You told me to zoom out. Sorry, I'm getting too into the game, but I think it really does come down to holding serve on special teams, taking away Iowa's bread and butter, the outside zone, and then getting TJ on the move. If you do those 3 things, Nebraska's got a shot. You fail in any one of those three, and Nebraska doesn't help me.
It's Mark Kraynak with us, Friday edition Average Joe Sports Show, Nebraska, Iowa, here at the Single Barrel inside the Graduate. Kraynak will hope to bump into you later for a slinky at the bar at 2:30. We need a prediction before we say goodbye, bud. You and Mama and Junior stay warm, all right?
Hey, we're on the way. We might come see it, too. It depends on parking and everything. But we might be showing up to the Single Barrel here pretty soon.
Oh, cool.
Prediction-wise, I'm going to go Iowa 20, Nebraska 13.
Okay.
Iowa covers. Iowa gets the dub. 7-5. Vegas, here we go.
And here's Utah.
No, thank you. But, yeah, probably.
Death by run game. Kraynak, we'll see you in a bit, bud. Stay safe. Be warm, all right?
All right, be good, fellas.
All right, there he is. Mark Kraynak with us here, Average Joe Sports Show. We'll get caught up with the Iron Horse, Gary Sharp, checking in here a little bit after 9. Gary Barnett will join us. We get Coach's Take, do some rapid fire. And don't forget, as we'll have the Friday forecast powered by Bud Light. You can find and subscribe to the Average Joe Sports Show 7 days a week on YouTube, Facebook with KFOR, Twitter, AJ Sports Radio. Mikey in from Cali really early this morning. Brandon is here. Captain checking in. Game Dog here. Also, Tolkien or T. Klein is what we'll go with. I always screw that up. Forgive me, bud. Sandhill Quest is in. Old Boot in. Mike is here. Hokey Skur is in. Steve saying what's up. Uncle Larry here, along with Jeff and Brian Snitley, part of the Boulder Peace Treaty, saying what's up. Kenny is here. Average Jill in saying beat Iowa. Let's say hi to Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 Sports. He's in the warmth of the press box. BC, how's the spread look up there, man? What's the de jour day cornucopia? Fruit, yes, probably fresh fruit, but do we have breakfast pizza? Is there
Thanksgiving leftovers up there?
Is there some biscuits and gravy? What do we got going?
You're giving me way too much credit. I've sort of paced myself. I'm currently parked in my car still, so I have the walk to the stadium yet to make. So I'm not warm. I don't know what the spread is. I'm of no use to you on any of those questions, unfortunately.
It's a shame. Iowa, actually, we had a good spread last year with the Thanksgiving dinner part 2 in the press box in Iowa City. I actually quite enjoyed that. And if we get some sort of rerun of that today, I'll be a happy man. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. I'm looking forward to whatever meal they have up there.
Yeah, I never complain about free food anymore. I used to do that in my younger years, and I'm like, no, got to be grateful, especially day after Thanksgiving. So whatever it is, I'll put a little on my plate. Hopefully the coffee is full. That's really all I need.
BC, I got to ask you this. You look at the way the things have run down score-wise, 7 points, 3 points. Iowa's had leads evaporate against Nebraska to make it tight. Vice versa, Nebraska's had big leads just 2 years ago against, God, I forget the kid's name, but I always kind of nicknamed him Biscuits and Gravy. The quarterback who transferred to a Division 3 or 2 or whatever it was. Can Nebraska's skill...
Deacon Hill,
right? Not Beacon, but Deacon, right? Can Nebraska's skill be a difference like it was 3 years ago today if Nebraska can't outmuscle Iowa, which we don't think is possible on the defensive line? Can the skill win it for the Big Red today?
Potentially. I do think, though, that, and I get the premise of it, because there is a thought like Iowa's strength is going up against Nebraska's weakness, and that's all sorts of trouble. It's got to be a deal, though, I think, first and foremost, where Nebraska's perceived weakness punches up. We have seen that at times in this Nebraska-Iowa series because, frankly, you know, they've won 9 of the last 10, and in some of those years, Iowa's been sort of like they're in the position now where they've been thought to be like that 6-point favorite or whatever. And yet throughout the game, Nebraska's played with them in the trenches for large parts of it. And then they've had that, as you guys know, that outside zone play or something will pop for 60 yards. A guy squirts through and it changes all the momentum or something like that. So somehow, some way, first and foremost, that group, I don't expect them to, there's going to be a little bit of a drip with Iowa's run game. I think that works for them. But can Nebraska somehow, some way keep like the most explosive play, like inside of 30 yards or something like that, which is something not common to this series for Nebraska. So that's the first big part. To your question, Schmitty, I think it's possible, but that's going to require, it kind of goes back to the August stuff that old Holgerson would talk about, where it's like you take a short play and you turn it into an explosive. I think it's going to probably on a day like this maybe need to be someone like Emmett just making that exemplary play, or an Isaiah Hunter is a guy who comes to mind on one of those screens, stepping out of it and going for 50 yards. I do think Nebraska is going to need a play like that somewhere along the line. Even think back a couple of years ago, Nebraska sort of fought their way back here in this stadium, but was it the Jalen Lloyd touchdown, I think?
Yep.
It came out, all of a sudden they got that big bomb, and it's like, okay, they're back in this thing. I do think there's going to have to be a moment where Nebraska has a play like that either resets the game or gets them to playing in front throughout, where they can have that attempt at closing one out from ahead this time.
You said something important. Does Nebraska need to be playing with a lead in order to go win this football game?
I mean, not necessarily, but I don't think they can let this get too far out of sight. Like, obviously, the points are going to be at such a premium, and this is going to be one of those games, Elijah, where, Nebraska might get 3. We talked about this last week on the show, Penn State. It's like you might get those 3 or 4 cracks at them inside their 40-yard line. What are you going to do with it? And they've got to at least get 3 points on some of those drives. I'm not saying not to go for it in certain situations, although they are 7 of 22 now on 4th down this season, which is unbelievable. But it's a type of game where it can crush your soul if you have a drive and Cunanan misses a 35-yarder, something like that. And I know the elements aren't great today, but all those sort of things I think got to keep Nebraska within 3 to 6 points, going in the fourth quarter, where you're just that play away. If this one does get like a couple of years ago where you're down 10, even in the second quarter, I don't love it. I don't love the chances of coming back from that, because I do think points could be hard to come by.
Brian Christopherson's with us here, Average Joe Sports Show, Black Friday edition. TJ Lateef has been a cool customer and has that dual threat ability, BC. And, we were talking with Kraynak about it. We hit on it with Babbers. I mean, it needs to be an element today. Do you agree it needs to look more UCLA, TJ, versus Penn State? TJ, and granted, they got down by a boatload at halftime, but can Nebraska's dual threat quarterback be a difference today? I mean, I know Iowa's gonna run their guy. They average about 8 to 12 carries for Gronowski. I mean, TJ needs to be allowed to do that and at least be two-dimensional, my friend, with the run game, the 1-2 punch, Emmett and TJ.
Absolutely agree. I mean, I think people are talking all week about special teams and, okay, Nebraska can finally at least punch even there, if not try to win it in that phase of the game. Let's talk about quarterbacks the same way. We know that Iowa is just going to test the heck out of Nebraska's defense with Gronowski. I think Nebraska's got to return that favor a little bit with what they think TJ can splash in the run game with some of the zone read stuff, and at least keep Iowa honest that that's going to be more a part of it than even it probably has been the first couple of weeks with TJ as a starter. Obviously, you've got you got to lay it all on the line here today. I mean, you've got a month till your next game. We all know the difference in perception on when you guys are doing your post game. If they're 8-4 holding that trophy to the sky, or 7-5 and Iowa's walking with it to the locker room again. And so yeah, I think you got to use TJ's legs as much as anything. And, Rule always talks about a triple threat quarterback, right? Like the arms, legs, and brain. I think it's the brain part that's got to be the best for TJ today. And I think he's capable of that. I think he's a really sharp kid. And I like the way he fought in that game last week, even if it wasn't his best stuff and it was a tough situation. And he's going to have that type of moxie today as he sort of sorts through this game and sometimes the patience that is required as a quarterback if you are in like a 13-10 kind of game against Iowa, which obviously this one has been the last 2 years.
Brian, I got to go back to something you just said about the perception of the season, depending on what happens today. Is that right or wrong? Because it will change depending on if it's 7-5 or 8-4, how fans look back at the season. Is that fair? Is that okay for fans to change how they feel based on how today goes?
It is. I mean, whether it's right or wrong, it just is, right? I mean, it's the fact that like 8-4 was the most common prediction all off season. It's with that, people sort of set that as the bar. I think people have looked at the schedule and said, you know what, this really should be 8-4. There obviously have been different circumstances with Dillon's injury and things like that have popped up, but everybody's got their things to deal with. And I think the truth is there's going to be flat disappointment from more fans than not in that they don't think the direction of the program can still go in a positive way, and it's all like on this game. But for this particular season, there'll be disappointment if it's 7-5, I think. And that we get such a small sample size, right, in college football. Like, it's a 12-game season. Every time you step out there means so much. And sometimes that can seem unfair. Sometimes it can seem a little like the old NBA playoff conversations where is LeBron the greatest because he made this shot, or does he suck because he missed that shot, with 10 seconds left. Those kind of deals pop up, but that's the way sports is, and that's the way I think some people are going to react to this game. And the bottom line is, whether we think that much of trophy games or not, or used to, it means a lot when that other side, that's your border rival, if they're holding that thing in the air and they're chanting their name in your stadium. And that sort of adds to, I think, the reception you're going to get if Nebraska loses this game 7-5 plus that. So that's what you're trying to avoid. And on the other side, it will be, there'll be great joy, and it'll kind of wash away what happened last week and some of that stuff if you win today. That's the opportunity they have in this game.
Brian Christopherson with his Husker 24/7 Sports, BC and crew, of course, with Husker 24/7 Sports, the Hypecast and their daily pod to be sure to check out. So we asked about the skill versus willpower or physicality a little bit ago. It sounded to me, BC, as we get you out on this, like John Butler threw everything and anything at Penn State's run game, and it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Does he try a 2.0 of that today? Does it come down to execution versus what he's calling? I mean, do guys just need to actually win on the lines of scrimmage at this point of the season? I say yes, because it sounds like he had every front known to man and every run blitz known to man, and it didn't matter because they missed an assignment or 8. There was too much in the playbook, and they couldn't go execute it. Maybe they didn't practice it though that well. Don't know, but they've got to be ready to try and be better at it this morning than they were last weekend.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think mostly though, what you said within there, guys just are going to have to get off blocks better than last week. That's just the bottom line, because you're right. They did throw a little bit of everything. And then it leaves you really vulnerable in the pass game. And we can talk about Gronowski, the runner, and say he's not as good a thrower. Penn State hadn't been opening it up that much in the pass game either. And they go 11 of 12 because they were layup throws, because Nebraska left itself so vulnerable with what they were doing with their run defense and the various pressures. So this is where you hope, like, a guy like Keona Davis, who played great football and sometimes looked unblockable against UCLA, has that kind of game today. And a couple guys around him, like Elijah Judy, on moments here and there, has flashed like he is that kind of player. Not consistently enough, perhaps, but that's the type of game you need from some guys, maybe to play a little bit above their norm. And if they can do that, but we got to remember this. Iowa, they are a strong offensive line. They see it as a strength. They also have had games like last week where they had 150 yards going in the fourth quarter and, won that game because of special teams. So this is a good football team Nebraska's playing that always believes in itself going to the fourth quarter. But you got to be careful to not make Iowa out to more than they are. A team coming off a very fortunate 3-point win against Michigan State last week. So you got to tell your guys, you can play better than you did at Penn State. I know you can, and just hope you get the best out of them. And a lot of it's just going to come down to them winning those matchups more than they did a week ago. And, I'm not going to say that's going to happen, but that's what you got to believe in your guys can do if you're on this coaching staff.
Brian Christopherson with us. BC, we'll see you in a bit. Thanks for the time this morning, bud.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, good to hear from BC. A quick timeout, hour 2. And Gary Barnett coming up. Gary Sharp on the way. Clausborne, hour 2 on the way.
Hello, I'm Rick.
And I'm Kim with Harley's Heating and Air. At Harley's, our focus is on you, the customer.
If it's your goal to keep your system running at peak performance, try our service agreements.
Call Harley's or schedule online at harleysheatingandair.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
John, what are you doing? Get in my car. So why are you walking to work?
Thanks, man. It's these insanely high gas prices. They're draining my bank account. I can't afford to drive anymore.
Dude, don't walk. Just do what I do, because I never pay full price for gas anymore. I use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Oh, wait. You're telling me you get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PROFIT for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code PROFIT. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PROFIT for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PROFIT.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet stop you from being active and getting healthy. Trade in your bad feet for good feet at the Good Feet store.
The Legacy Retirement Communities invite you to enjoy the independence, comfort, and peace of mind they offer in their own special way at all of their locations. Connect with others, enjoy fabulous food, educational programs, fitness centers, and more. The Legacy communities are filled with movers and doers who embrace every stage of life, giving you the opportunity to live each day enriched and grateful. For a tour, call 402-436-3000 or visit legacyretirement.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Lincoln's local news. We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back with you here, hour 2 into the Average Joe Sports Show, the Road Show edition, the Black Friday extravaganza. Nebraska and Iowa getting set for kickoff at 11. It is frigid. It is cold. It is typical Nebraska day after Thanksgiving weather. 489-1240 to get in. We'll get some of your comments here in the stream as we'll have Clausborne on the way. Gary Sharp, the Iron Horse, checks in, and we'll say hi to the head man himself, Gary Barnett, with us to talk some Nebraska, Iowa, some college football weekend. Coach, how was the Thanksgiving?
Oh, I don't have him yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You said 9:05.
My fault.
I was giving him 5 minutes. I'll get him on the line here. I do apologize.
No, you're good. You're fine. Yeah. Okay. So we'll have that intro in a little bit.
That's my bad. I'm pointing the thumb, not the finger here. I know.
Brother, you can point the finger. It's all right. Just make sure it's
that finger.
Yeah, make sure it's the index finger. You're pointing at me. That's pretty good. So we'll get Barty on the horn here in just a moment. But yeah, just from a vibe and a feel standpoint, I mean, the weather is the weather, but Nebraska fans are praying for a kind of a bounce back, different type showing. You know it's going to be hard fought. You know the team's going to play hard. You have some advantages for you, not only just being at home, but you've got some advantages with the quarterback spot in TJ Lateef. You've got some advantages this year in special teams that it's not a liability, but can be a strength, has been a strength. And you've got a really talented secondary. All that being said, it is going to come down to your big fellas versus their big fellas up front. And let's welcome in the Hall of Fame coach, Gary Barnett, with us. Coach, this second time I'm introducing you because I gave Elijah a different time. So welcome in. How was Thanksgiving? Thanks for joining us on Black Friday again.
Oh, good. It was a nice, quiet Thanksgiving. 5 of us that play golf together all got together at somebody's club for lunch or for Thanksgiving. Nobody had to cook, so it was easy. You know, it was a nice day, and so just getting ready for Friday and Saturday, today and tomorrow. So a lot of football, and I got everything taped that I could possibly tape. In fact, my TV said you can't tape anymore. So I'm actually record. Taping is an old term for old people, but record. So yeah, it's how much better a weekend is going to be. I can't remember two days like this where there are so many meaningful big games. And we always have rivalry weeks, so those always seem big, but very seldom do they have as many that are, mean so much. So yeah, fired up, ready to go. Great weekend.
Well, I need to ask the question here. I see 2 great games at 11 a.m., maybe 3 if you include Utah and Kansas. But with the Egg Bowl, Ole Miss and Mississippi State, Nebraska, Iowa, Utah, and Kansas, what channel is your television going to be on, Barney?
You know what? It's probably going to be on the Egg Bowl. And I've got your game being recorded. So I got to watch the Egg Bowl just a little bit. And I think there's maybe a little chipping and putting in my future as well.
Okay.
All this, the fact that you can record all these games lets you have a lot of flexibility. So, but I think I'm going to start off with the Egg Bowl. There's just so much, this clamor around what's going to happen and the consequences of this game for so many other people. So I'll watch the drama of it.
Well, Lane will appreciate the attention from so many a little bit later. But our attention is Nebraska, Iowa. It's super frigid. It's 22 degrees. I know you're wondering, Coach, how chilly it is. What's this day like for you? You had so many Black Friday showdowns with Nebraska home and away. Different opponent. We miss Colorado, frankly. Miss Oklahoma as well. But from a coaching standpoint, it's one final rodeo before potentially a conference title game and then the bowl game. But what's it feel like to be at this point of the season from a coaching standpoint?
Well, the great rivalry with Nebraska and the Thanksgiving, that Friday after Thanksgiving Day, there wasn't anything better in my coaching career than that weekend. And for a couple of reasons, we were sitting there yesterday at Thanksgiving and I'm thinking, God, I'm used to having about 400 people here, families and kids, going around table to table, making sure everybody got enough, and saying hi to families or seeing their son play for the last time. And then if we're on the road, I was there at the Cornhusker Hotel, having a big meal up there, and all the guys, the announcers are there, Keith Jackson and the boys are all up there. So, it was just a period of time where you just felt like your heart was racing and things were exciting and fun. And my family loved it. My family loved Thanksgiving with the Buffs or Thanksgiving on the road in Lincoln. So, I was just sitting there thinking the other day yesterday we were in this room with about 20 people. I'm going, things have changed. So
a lot is made of November football in the Midwest, November football in Lincoln, the style that you got to play with. You've coached on the sideline in Lincoln in November on Black Friday. Is that real? Is that overplayed? What's your take? It's supposed to be a cold one. No severe weather in the forecast. The wintry mix seems to be coming a little bit later this evening or tomorrow morning, but it will be cold. It will be a little bit windy. Is the weather a factor today, you think?
Weather will be a little bit of a factor because we really haven't had any of these kinds of days. Usually you got to break into these sort of days where you have a little color games and maybe some weather, but it's a factor if you let it be. I think once the adrenaline's going, the ball gets kicked off. It doesn't affect that much, but there are things that happen in the weather. The ball bounces a little bit differently. It's a little harder to catch. If there's any rain, then there's going to be water on the ball, especially if you're taking a direct snap or under center. The ball kick just a little bit different. So there's just a slight adjustment, but athletes make that adjustment. And so I think a day where you're not going to have moisture and you don't have bad wind, then it's not going to play a very big role at all.
Gary Barnett with us, few minutes here, Average Joe Sports Show. We gear you up for Nebraska, Iowa. Coach, the difference, what's your take on 8-4, 7-5? That's part of a talking point this week with Matt Rule, year 3. And, Vegas said win total at 7.5, so they're right there for it. No surprise there, but just the feel in a program here, that difference between getting an 8th win and an 8th win over a team like Iowa versus 7-5 again, where we're in a lot of the helmet games this year, but didn't close the deal aside from the Penn State beatdown last weekend. What are your thoughts on that difference between 8 wins and 7 wins for a program trying to mark progress?
Well, it's a bigger deal before the game than it is afterwards. Because before you can be either one. You can be 7 wins or you can be 8 wins. Afterwards, you're one or the other, and you know what it is. So you just go on and start recruiting and take that information to home families you're going to go recruit with. And so It feels like a big deal. It is until the game's over, and then after the game's over, you are what you are, and you go recruit with it. So it's it's one of those things that it's fun to talk about, and you use it with your team. Absolutely, you may even find stats that that rank all the teams and rank the teams that are good teams that we have 8 wins, and the teams that are average teams that only have 7. Somebody will put up some stat like that, but in the end, you get them ready to play football. You're one or the other going in, and you're one or the other coming out, and that's the way you are. And you just go down the road, and you can't get too wadded up about it. But before the game, it's you're using it for motivation.
Coach, if it is 8-4 at the end of the day today for Nebraska, they're going to need to find something against Iowa's rushing attack. Iowa, it's no secret. They're going to run the football at you early and often. That's been the weakness of Nebraska's defense so far this season. And through 11 games, I think they are what they are. So to me, it comes down to overcoming a deficiency in which I think Iowa's going to run the football for probably a good number of yards today. Is there anything you can do in order to try to overcome that? Because Schmidt and I talked earlier this week, a yard on the ground is worth more than a yard through the air. Iowa lives that mantra, and they're going to run the football probably with some success today. How do you overcome that as if you're a football team?
Well, you got to put an extra guy in the box, and you got to do it without playing man defense more than likely. And so while zone blitzes aren't as favorable or common as they used to be, it's still a good way to play. And, you're playing against an accomplished veteran quarterback in the run game. He's in the pass game. He's just a guy, and but he's a better guy than they have had. So Nebraska is going to have to stop the run and take their chances in the air. There's no question about it. And this team's rushing for 175 yards a game. That's who they are. They want to get into a running game battle with you, and it's just you got a tough defense to go against. So that you got to play complementary football in this thing. You can't just sell out defensively and say I'm going to stop the run. There's got to be some complementary football by your offensive play calls. Not you make them go 85 yards. Punt when you need to punt. Go for it when you need to go for it, and always be thinking about the stress you're putting on your defense with the way you call them plays. And I think that's particularly important today. But more than anything, Nebraska's got to they got to find a way to get 8 guys in the box and not give up the big play. Force them to throw the ball underneath, break on the ball, make the tackle, and then see if they can do it again. But it's complementary football is really important in a game like this. And special teams.
Amen. Special teams has been a godsend for Iowa so many times. Coach Barnett in this series as they're 9-1 against Nebraska, and it's been a lot of times special teams that have been the difference. What kind of difference do you think TJ Lateef is today for Nebraska? As guy's mobile, the guy can throw it. He's pretty poised, has a run game to back him. There's some skill options, but there's also Phil Parker as the boogeyman on the other sideline. So what are you calling for TJ Lateef today if you're calling plays?
Well, Phil's not playing. I didn't see him on the 2 deep. But
he's not, but he's tough. He's got guys that do.
But, you got to play to Lateef's strength. And, he's mobile. And you got to play to his strength. Let him throw on the run. Let him run the football. Have him be your second running back. It's you got to pull them all out right here to get to 8-4. You're not worried about a championship game. Right now, you're worrying trying to get to 8-4, and that's what you try to do. And so I think it should be a bit of a chess match between Phil Parker and Dana. But, in the end, he's got to play like a guy that's not a freshman. He's in a big game like this. He's never been in Iowa. So, you're going to have to get him used to that first. No, you're at home, so you're okay. I forgot about that. So you're at home. So you've got to, having not played as a freshman, use his legs. I think that's how you beat this team.
Coach, we'll hit some rapid fire. Appreciate you spending time with us here on Black Friday. We'll start off with Ole Miss, Mississippi State, the Fighting Lane Kiffins for the time being at -7.5. This is a two-parter. Who do you like, Ole Miss, Mississippi State? The other part of this question is where is Lane's visor? What does it read by midnight tonight? What team?
Well, first of all, this is always a heck of a game, and Mississippi State can play really well. 7.5 is a lot in this game. I think I'm gonna take Mississippi State in the points, and I'm gonna say Lane is gonna stay at home. I think he's gonna stay at Ole Miss.
Okay,
I'm with you there, Coach. I'm just hoping that we get another Ole Miss player faking urinating like a dog in the end zone in this one. That'd be a lot of fun. That's
classy.
Yeah. That was real classy, wasn't it? Well, everybody can't wait to see that happen again.
Coach, next game we'll move to tonight. The Texas A&M Aggies on the road. They're in Austin taking on the Longhorns. A&M likely into the playoff no matter what happens. They're a 2.5-point favorite.
Oh, boy. Do we all remember this game or what? It was the game before or after the Nebraska-Colorado game every year. Mm-hmm. And it's just such a great rivalry. A&M is playing well. They're favored by 2.5. Texas is starting to play better. Arch is playing better. You got a matchup that's really, really good. It's at Texas. You know what? A&M just plays on the edge enough to where I'm still going to pick them. I don't know. This is hard for me. I really sort of want Texas to win. I don't know if they can. It's at Texas, like I said. So if I got to pick one, I'm going to take Texas in the points.
How about Georgia Tech? The Yellow Jackets stung last week. Georgia just keeps on rolling. This is a monster spread for an in-state rivalry game, 13.5. I kind of think Tech covers, but does Georgia stay unbeaten for this streak they've been on? They're 10-1 coming in.
Georgia has quietly just taken care of business. They haven't been out there. They've been a down and dirty team when they have to be down and dirty. Georgia Tech has shown flaws now. I don't like the 12.5-point spread, but I do like Georgia in this game, and probably right at 12.5. I think that's hard to split. Georgia, I like Georgia in the game, and I think that quarterback is good. And they're playing it almost at a neutral stadium instead of playing at Bobby Dodd for Georgia Tech home game. But I think Georgia wins. I know Georgia wins this game. It's just by how much is what I'm trying to decide. And I'm going to go with 13 points. How's that?
Coach, to Saturday we go. Kicking things off, 11 a.m., the one that lots of folks wait for months and months and months. I'm talking about the game. It's in Ann Arbor this year. Ohio State, they're a favorite for the national championship. Michigan still maybe a chance at making the playoff, an outside chance at that. Ohio State is a 9.5-point favorite looking to end their losing streak against the Wolverines. Who do you like?
I like Ohio State to win the game for sure. They'd love to do it by 30 points instead of 9.5. Being able to do it by that and wanting to do it are two different things. Michigan has been just good enough. They squeaked by Northwestern because of self-inflicted wounds. I don't know if they're a total package. That quarterback, I don't think, is quite ready for this game. I like Ohio State all the way in it. That many points. I think so. I think they win by that many points.
Coach, before we get your thought on Nebraska, Iowa, what about Oregon on the road at Washington -6.5 Quackers?
Boy, that's always a great game, guys. I mean, the last 2 years, if you remember that game, it is a great game. Oregon's just playing at too high a level. I like the Duck. I like Washington as well. I like their coach. I like all that stuff. But I'm going to go with Oregon on this thing with the points for sure. I'm going to Oregon by 10.
Coach, last game here before we get your thoughts on Nebraska and Iowa. How about the Iron Bowl? Jordan-Hare Stadium, not a place I would want to play at night. The Tigers, though, are 5.5-point underdogs to the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah, are you a little surprised that it's not more than that?
I am, yeah.
I am. Yeah, I'm a little surprised, too. Auburn's been playing well. That is a hard place to play. You know, that's a fun place to go for this game. I sort of like Auburn in the points in this game.
What about Vandy, Tennessee?
I'm taking Alabama to win, but I like Auburn in those points.
You going Orange or Commodores here?
I just can't take Commodores. I'm going to go Orange. I shouldn't. I can't take Tennessee either. I don't know. I hope it's a 0-0 tie, actually. But no, I'm going to go Tennessee in this game. I like Tennessee.
Coach, last one here. Iowa, Nebraska. Iowa's a 5.5-point road favorite. Does this thing end in a walk-off field goal yet again, or does Iowa cover that 5.5?
No, I like the walk-off field goal. I think it's close. I think it's real close. I think Iowa's going to win, though, by just about that much. That's sort of who they are. That's the way they want to win. And so I think Iowa wins by a field goal.
Well, I saw Captain Kirk in the hallway earlier this morning and said good morning, kind of nodded his head. Iowa's in this hotel, Coach, and they're feeling all right. All the Hawkeye fans gathered around the bar. That's shocking, I know. And there
wasn't room for the Nebraska folks to be at the bar, huh?
Well, I mean, there's a conglomeration right now of red and black. So, going to be a tight one. Coach, have a great rest of your football weekend, and always appreciate you for joining us here on Black Friday, and we'll get caught up again soon. Thank you so much.
Yeah, looking forward to the weekend. See you guys.
All right, there he is, Coach Gary Barnett with us here on the Average Joe Sports Show Black Friday edition, as we're here at the Single Barrel inside the Graduate. Real Red Reaction follows again, 2:30 from the bar, 16th and P, the Iron Horse. Gary Sharp is stopping by in just a moment on site with us. Doug Duda sighting is here. Clausborne, his imaginary wears red. He's bundled up. Friday forecast coming up at 9:40. A quick timeout. Back with more of the Average Joe Black Friday show here on KFOR.
When it comes to your family's safety, you need a shop you can depend on. At 6-to-6 Auto Service, their technicians are skilled professionals. Whether it's brakes, alignments, oil changes, or that warning light on the dash, you can trust 6-to-6 Auto Service for the repair. Locally owned for 20 years, you will drive with confidence knowing your vehicle is ready for the road. See the service specials online and book your appointment at 6to6autoservice.com now. That's 6to6autoservice.com. When you need it fixed, it's 6-to-6.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life, your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Oh, awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
There's no better place to be outdoors than in Nebraska. Hello, everybody. I'm Hershey from your Nebraska Game and Parks, and I get to serve as your guide each week as we seek adventures with the outdoor experts. So join me every Saturday morning at 9:45 for Outdoor Nebraska here on KFOR.
With Steel, batteries are included. This holiday season, give a gift that's ready to go right out of the box. For everything from cleaning up the yard to cutting up firewood, Steel tools check off the wish list and knock out the to-do list. And right now, buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit SteelUSA.com for holiday deals and gift ideas. Happy holidays from Steel. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. You'll find exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 50% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
The Legacy Retirement Communities invite you to enjoy the independence, comfort, and peace of mind they offer in their own special way at all of their locations. Connect with others, enjoy fabulous food, educational programs, fitness centers, and more. The Legacy Communities are filled with movers and doers who embrace every stage of life, giving you the opportunity to live each day enriched and grateful. For a tour, call 402-436-3000 or visit legacyretirement.com.
Ah, Cornelius, it's the holidays and Lincoln is positively abuzz about Jet Splash once again.
Have they started washing sleighs, Reginald?
Not quite, but they are offering sleigh loads of savings on car wash bundles and memberships. It's their jaw-dropping holiday sale.
Wow.
Annual plans are up to $100 off, making it the perfect time to upgrade. And Jet Splash's 9th location on 27th and Vine is now open.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back with you here, Black Friday edition, Average Joe Sports Show here at the Single Barrel inside the Graduate. 9th and P. Gary Sharp, the Iron Horse, with us. Black Friday edition. You're laughing with me or at me as I'm going to be going a man on the street interview with you. A lot of our gear, and be sure to come see us for Real Red Reaction, 2:30, the bar, 16th and P with Seth and Greg and many of you, Slinkies galore. Doug Duda's RSVPing as well. What, Slinkies?
No, you're just making up names. Hey, come see Bob at the bar. The bar. Come look at my picture. I've got a picture. Me and Searles are on the wall.
See, I thought it was me and Danny Burke on the wall there, but
it's all of us. I mean, all of us that have had a good time there. Why isn't anybody excited for today's game?
It's 12 degrees, and
thank you.
Nebraska's going to give up 17 a carry on the ground. We have a fan to our left saying, "Yeah."
I heard one person respond with a woo.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about excitement, Iron Horse, because 8-4, 7-5, staring you in the face.
Yes, one game makes a huge difference. Now, for me personally, I only have a couple of more, like maybe a chapter left to write this season. I already know what this football team is. But today is a TJ Lateef day. I've said, hey, give it a couple of games, see where he's at. He goes Jim Knowles to Phil Parker. They've got to use his legs today, and they've got to get him going early against Iowa. But there's really nothing left to say about this season that we don't already know, because unfortunately, I think this team looks a lot like the team that played at Arrowhead. That individually, there's some guys that have gotten better. Special teams we knew was going to be better. It's held up its end of the bargain. But I don't think as a team as a whole, they're the same team at the end of August, basically, that they are playing the final game. and that can't happen. But, today is one of those days, like if you look at the problems with Nebraska football over the last decade or so, Iowa is the problem because of the way Iowa plays, that you don't play, that people just sit back and want you to make mistakes. That's what Iowa has done to Nebraska. So I don't know. Nebraska's been a good bounce back team, but man, it is quiet here. It is really, last Saturday night was frustrating and disappointing. I didn't know that it would have that much impact on how people are looking at this program right now.
They got dominated last Saturday night, and it's one thing to lose. It's another thing to get dominated. They physically got manhandled, and I think at this part of the Rule era, you weren't expecting that. As good as Penn State's talent differential is, they made you look third tier, and that is very sobering. You can lose but not get humiliated. They got humiliated, so what's next? What's next is another team that's going to run it on you, and it's gone the other way. Instead of getting over the hump like you were right there against SC, like you were right there against Michigan, another name brand, you didn't last Saturday night. This is your last hurrah to beat somebody of substance.
Yeah. Do you guys think, there's always – I think Nebraska would like to be Iowa. Okay, where you're a developmental program, you send guys to the NFL, you build in the trenches, you have a stellar defense. They're always going to be better at quarterback and wide receivers because of their mindset and their resources and what they want to do with their offense. But they also want a little tinge of Ohio State. They want some star power with the trenches. I don't think Nebraska today can beat Iowa by being Iowa. I think Nebraska has to take chances. Now, they haven't shot themselves in the foot with just a plethora of mistakes. It's really come down to execution and the Jimmies and the Joes. I don't think they can play Iowa's game to win today, but maybe because of the conditions, they're going to be forced to play that way. But do you guys feel the same way, that you can't – Nebraska can't beat Iowa by trying to be Iowa?
No, if this is a game where you're trying to say it's Emmett Johnson against Iowa and we're going to run the football 45 times, you're not going to win this football game. Iowa will out-Iowa you. I think a big key to me is the weather doesn't look as bad as it maybe could have today with what we saw earlier in the week. I think you're going to have to get some plays to your guys in the perimeter, those playmakers, and Isaiah Hunter, Dane Key, Ja'Cory Barney. I think they're going to have to make some plays to open things up for Emmett Johnson, and your offense is going to have to beat their defense. Your special teams is going to have to beat their defense, because I'm already chalking up Iowa's offense and their rushing attack against your front seven as a loss. But can you get a takeaway defensively? And then can your special teams and your offense be better than what they have?
When Iowa gets beat this year, what happened? They could very well be, instead of a 7-win football team, a 9-win football team. They were the only team to be right there against Indiana, honestly, along with Oregon. They were right there against Oregon, and it didn't happen. And then they had the lead against USC. So Iowa looks a lot better in close losses this year, with one thing or another maybe breaking differently for them. But how you beat Iowa 3 years ago was a guy like Trey Palmer. You had a superior talent they had no answer for. Do you have that now out on the edge? You got to survive the phone booth part of it. And Nebraska 3 years ago was built better against the run. They had better run-stopping personnel 3 years ago and last year. This year's the issue, and that's the biggest problem I think a lot of Nebraska fans have right now is you haven't seen much progress on that front defensive line. The front seven specifically has just gotten manhandled, and I know there's inexperience, but even at this point of the season, it comes down to just not being able to be better fundamentally or from a physicality standpoint. That's the other part of this damper finish to the season.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a concern we had before the season began. It never got fixed during the season. It's going to have to be fixed in the offseason. That's priority 1A, B, or C. I think today, so on defense, I think Nebraska's edge guys are going to have to be good because Iowa's just going to body blow. But it's when a Gronowski or a Moulton, they get outside on you. Can those guys turn things back inside? Now, on offense, let's don't kid ourselves. This is not, Iowa has some issues. Nebraska's better on special teams than Iowa is. Iowa's had a tendency this year to commit penalties, so it hasn't been the true Kirk Ferentz team, but they do have an identity, and the teams that have beaten them basically have beaten them because they have better skill guys and they have better quarterback play. And they've been hot or cold in stopping the run. When they've been really good, they've been great. When they haven't been so good, they've been leaky. Like, if you look at their their losses this year, it's not like they've been overwhelming in stopping the run. So I think Nebraska also has to be patient today. If they're going to run the football, stick with it. I don't think they'll be able to throw over the top. I think Iowa's secondary is really, really good. But what they do is they keep a lot in front of you. So, when we talked about early in the year, Dylan going against Cincinnati, where they just try and keep everything in front of you, you got to complete passes and then run after catch and then yards after contact with your wide receivers. So I think also if you factor in, they got to get Latif's legs involved today. The quarterback run game has to have an important role, but they have to do it early. I was disappointed they didn't try that early against Penn State. And then they tried it, and it was too much of a tell. Penn State knew what you're going to do. So, what can they do on the sidelines? I've said this for the longest time, and I'm a firm believer in this. Right now, under this regime, they can't beat teams that have less talent than. Okay, but today is a day that the talent is pretty equal. So it's going to come down to a play or two, and it might come down to your special teams guy. But when you have an opportunity to get points today in a low-scoring game, for God's sake, get the points on the board. Get the points on the board, play with a lead, and see what happens.
Gary Sharp with us here, a weekend edition, pregame, getting you set for Nebraska, Iowa. And Gary, if you go back in the last 10 years, Mickey Joseph is the only Nebraska coach to get a win against Iowa. And if you go back 3 years ago, I think there was a feeling among Husker Nation, okay, the long nightmare of losing to Iowa, it's finally over, you got to win. Matt Rule's coming in, he gets this Nebraska ethos, the mantra, being physical. It's not going to be Iowa just running roughshod against Nebraska every single year. And now 3 years later, Matt Rule's 0-2, staring down the barrel of 0-3, just considering Iowa's strengths really seem to line up with your weaknesses. We've kind of talked about the mood of 7-5 going into the offseason being a lot different than 8-4. What would a loss today against Iowa mean, considering the mood among the fan base and the energy is already low?
It would be a tough sell. I mean, a lot of people would be like, hey, get back to me in August. Even though all of us would be like, man, I can't get away from it. You would have to have a huge offseason, and you'd have to make some decisions. And it would come back to Rule. Like, where is Nebraska after 3 years when you've gone 5 wins, 6 wins, 7 wins, and your best win this year is either Cincinnati or Northwestern? Man, that's an awful tough sell to go into the offseason for a fan base that all they want is hope. They want hope, and then they want to see something. But it's going to be, regardless of what happens today, there's a lot of hard discussions that are going to happen because next year gets tougher. And you're also going to have some guys that are not going to be here that may have had important roles this year. So I think just sit back, relax, enjoy this game, see where the chips fall, and then we start talking about the offseason come Saturday morning, and there will be some hard discussions in the offseason, whether they be headsets or helmets, because Nebraska can't live in this world. You can't sell me stuff if you're living in this world where you're getting beat up by Big Ten football. T and the D. You got to find a way to get good in the trenches, got to get good in development, and then find some difference makers. And whether those difference makers are headsets or helmets, that's where you go forward. But today, you got to do anything possible to win this football game, however it takes to win a football game against Iowa and be 8-4 instead of 7-5. And, you're going to Vegas or you're going to Nashville or you're going to Tampa. There's a big difference there.
Yeah, and I think part of that, Gary, is the fact that you're getting beat by Big Ten football. And Nebraska's losses this year, they have lost the line of scrimmage. And I think what makes that especially difficult is the fact that your head coach from day one, from the introductory press conference, talked about being the most physical football team on the field. And you haven't seen much at all of any of that from Nebraska this season. They have not been the more physical team in any game aside Akron and Houston Christian and maybe Maryland.
Sharpie, I got to ask you here, as we talk off-season and headsets and personnel and funding, you need to ramp up your roster with some run stoppers through the portal or get guys to be better a year older. We'll see. That's development that you haven't seen this season yet in that front four. But the quarterback spot is what I'm interested in. How big of a distraction do you believe, if it is, in your opinion, a distraction we're having with this quarterback and Dylan discussion in reference to the CBS Sports article about the consideration of a transfer. You've got Latif that's now into his third game. You've got Dana. You've got an offense. You've got a team that's moved on with a guy that's rehabbing at the facility in Dylan Raiola, but yet there's things swirling. First it was little brother, and now it's Dylan swirling right ahead of kickoff Wednesday before Nebraska, Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a distraction for one game. I think there's a couple of things. Yeah, watch how Latif plays today. It becomes a financial thing. Can you keep two quarterbacks? What if Latif struggles today? Those kind of things. But I think there was a sign the other night. They've kind of the older guys have taken to TJ Latif. All right, he's a dude. And I said this on Sunday morning. There were things I saw on Saturday night that gave me a glimpse that Nebraska has a good quarterback in TJ Latif, and what they decide to do with him. I think you have to make a decision sooner than later to get that out of the way. But did when that came out, did that surprise anybody? I mean, we've all followed the Dylan Raiola recruitment of decommits and finally ending up at Nebraska. So I don't think it surprises us. I don't think it's a distraction internally. And I think that you move on as quickly as possible. And Nebraska might have to make a business decision. And you know what? It might end up being good for everybody that you make a decision early on who your quarterback is and then manage your roster around that. But it's very important, I think, for the future that Latif shows you more signs of growth today, because if he really, really struggles, then you have a hard decision. And, everybody starts choosing their fighter. But go back to the other night. You're at the state championship in football. Who's the quarterback that's hanging out with the dudes? Emmett Johnson, all of those guys. They've taken TJ Latif. Now it's time for TJ Latif to take over a game like this. When Nebraska has lost to Iowa of late, the quarterback play hasn't been very good. Iowa's been able to beat Nebraska with backup quarterbacks. How come Nebraska can't do it? I like their backup quarterback today, but they've got to use his legs.
Sharpie, give me a prediction here before we get a timeout and lead into the Friday forecast.
Not a timeout. We're just going straight into the Friday forecast.
We're just going straight into the forecast.
All right.
Doug Duda, give us a prediction here as you go to the bar real quick as well.
Already to the bar. Kickoff hasn't even happened.
The bar.
Oh,
the
God,
bar.
you got to trim those.
Yeah, it's like a party favor. All right, now Clue Haywood here. What happens, Duda?
I'm afraid Nebraska gets shut out, Sharpie.
Ooh.
And Schmitty. Wow. I think there's a definite possibility, but I'm going to go with 13-10. Nebraska finds a way to win. That makes everybody happy.
Okay, 13-10. I don't know that I'm going to make anyone happy here in about 10 minutes. Sharpie, what do you say?
17-14 Nebraska. Nebraska's been a good bounce-back team. I think we build this particular Iowa team up when we are so focused on the past that Nebraska hasn't been able to overcome Iowa. I think they find a way today, and they win the football game 17-14. They go 8-4, but they have to have some hard discussions once today is over, whether they're 7-5 or 8-4. You can't rest and go, whew, we beat Iowa. You know what? If that's the standard, then that standard in Nebraska is really low.
Sharp, appreciate you coming by here, Iron Horse. There he is, Gary Sharp. Let's get into the Friday forecast powered by Bud Light. Elijah, do you have the props with you? I did not bring a bottle of Bud Light with me, but Bud Light has powered us all season long with the Friday forecast, the official beer of Husker Nation. Clausborne is with us. Claus, thanks for hanging out, popping by. Happy belated Thanksgiving, man. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing all right. Got done pretty late last night carving up the Hawkeye for the family Thanksgiving, so it's a little early, but for you boys, I'll do one or two things.
Was there any drama at the Clausborne household with Thanksgiving? I know usually that's always the story. Some crazy uncle or cousin has made some drama at Thanksgiving dinner. Was there anything in the Clausborne household?
Well, the only drama we almost had was when Uncle Larry was suspected of using Iowa corn to make the cowboy caviars, but he got the provenance that it wasn't that contaminated. So
I love it. That is so good. Claus, let's get into the forecast, shall we? How's that sound?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, it is Nebraska. It is Iowa. We'll get that prediction coming up. But how about we start off and discuss Ole Miss and Mississippi State -7.5. Lane Kiffin. Coach Barnett says he thinks he stays at Ole Miss. You lose to Mississippi State, maybe they'll help him pack the U-Haul. I think Ole Miss wins. I think Mississippi State covers. Give me Ole Miss 28-24. Elijah, what do you say?
Close throughout. Ole Miss pulls away late. Let's go Rebs 34-20.
Claus, what say you?
Well, I didn't have this one on my list, but where is this game in?
Stark Vegas.
Oh, so there will be more cowbells on there than an Iowa women's debutante ball. I'm going to say that makes this one a little bit closer, but Ole Miss wins 28 and Mississippi State 24.
Let's go to Atlanta, Georgia, -13.5 at Georgia Tech. I like Georgia Tech to cover. I like Georgia to win, and give me the Dogs over the Yellow Jackets. 27-21, a little bit tighter than Georgia would like, but Georgia moves to 11-1. What do you say, Elijah?
This Georgia team has very quietly rounded into form. They don't really stand out with anything, but they're solid all across the board. It's that 4- and 5-star talent. Their defense is good. I think their defense is good enough to hold down Georgia Tech. Give me Georgia winning this football game and covering 38-24.
Claus, what say you? You going Georgia Tech, or are you going Georgia Bulldogs?
Well, I sent you boys the article with the headline about yet another Georgia player being busted for reckless driving, a headline which our good friend Justice Rhodey pointed out was about as surprising as one reading Fork Found in Kitchen. But I'm telling you, I think I'm going to hire a Bulldog alum as my personal driver. Because that way, if I ever have to travel through Iowa, I at least know I'll get out of there faster. And I want my new employees happy, so give me Georgia 24 and Georgia Tech 13.
Off to Austin we go. Texas and Texas A&M, the Fighting Trevs unbeaten. The Fighting Trevs are headed to their rival now that they can play again. Once upon a time, there was a timeout because of the SEC and Big 12. I think Texas ruins the unbeaten day. I'm going to be crazy here, but I'm going to pick Texas outright over Texas A&M, and I'm going to take the Longhorns and the points. And give me Texas 31-30 over A&M. Elijah, what do you say?
Yeah, we're thinking the same way. I've been picking Texas A&M all year long. That is a good football team. I don't think it's a national champion contender. I think they drop one late. They know they're into the playoff no matter what happens today. I think the Texas Longhorns have more to play for. Give me Texas 31, Texas A&M 28.
Claus, you going A&M or Bevo?
Well, I'm picking UT because honestly, A&M reminds me a lot of Iowa. They've got some crazy traditions like not walking on certain grass or grabbing your twig and berries and calling it a cheer. And Iowa has crazy traditions like trying to turn every conversation into one about wrestling and patting themselves on the back for waving at the kids they traumatized by making them watch their offense. So,
dear God,
give me UT 31 and A&M 21.
Wow. The Fighting Mannings by 10. Out to Pittsburgh we go as Miami is favored here, 6.5 over Pitt. Pitt could get to 9 wins. With the payroll, Miami should at least finish with 9 wins, if not more. But I don't think this Miami team's going to the playoff, and I don't think this Miami team is going to live up to the hype. Give me Pitt to respond and win outright as the home dog. Fighting Narduzzi's 31-24 over the Canes. What do you say, Elijah?
The farting Narduzzi's has a ring to it, though.
It does.
What? I'm struggling to pick this one. I do think Miami's the better team on paper, but they just have moments of not looking like they should with all the talent they have on that team. I'm going to take Miami to win, but I'll take Pitt to cover this football game. Let's go 34-31.
Okay. Claus, where you at, Miami or Pitt?
Well, Miami is a city that I know well due to several trips there over a 25 career. And I can tell you their nightlife is their biggest draw. And Iowa thinks theirs is too, but their nightlife is limited to the last 30 minutes. Applebee's still serves alcohol. So Miami wins that discussion, and they win this game 31-27.
All right, the Fighting Scott Frosts are a game away from bowl eligibility. They head to Provo as BYU at 10-1. Large spread here, 17.5. Wow. I think BYU gets it handled. I think they drill Central Florida 34-20, 34-20, a win and a cover. Win by BYU, a cover by Central Florida, just barely a cover by Central Florida, but BYU moves on. What do you say, Elijah?
Yeah, Scott Frost and a 5-7 finish to the season just feels like a match made in heaven. UCF's not going to win this football game. Give me BYU 38 and UCF 17.
Okay, Claus, you going with Central Florida or BYU?
Well, BYU is really knocking on the door of the playoffs, and so far they haven't been let in. And they really can't seem to understand that on social media, but I figured that'd be the one thing they were used to. Of course, an Iowa fan might let them in just so they can talk about anything but their football trophy case. So I'll take BYU in this one, 24, and whoever they're playing, 21.
Central Florida. Yep. The Fighting Frosts.
I choose not to acknowledge their existence.
So Ohio State, Michigan, this is going to be real easy. Ohio State 27-10, the win and cover. Too much Ohio State. Michigan's severely hampered and have been going the wrong direction the last several ball games despite finding ways to win. I think Ohio State wins, a little bit of payback, Elijah, and Ohio State onto the Big Ten title game. What do you say?
If this game was played on paper, I would take Ohio State to win by 20. It's not played on paper. Ryan Day, they decided to change things up. They're flying to Ann Arbor this year instead of driving. Are they overthinking it? I really have my concerns there that a team changing things up, overthinking it, is going to just lead to that added pressure. Also, what we know in a rivalry game, sometimes you got to take half of what you know, maybe even more, and throw it to the side. This is definitely one of those games. I think Ohio State wins. They break the curse, but it is close throughout. Michigan plays them real tough, and Michigan covers that 9.5-point line. Ohio State 20, Michigan 17.
Claus, where are you at here, Ohio State or Michigan?
Well, it's been a little while since Ohio State defeated Michigan, so for all their Christmas presents this year, I've gotten them all the DVDs of their wins over the Wolverines, which kind of reminds me how the state of Iowa is really like the DVD screensaver of America. Technically, there's something going on, but nobody is watching. So give me Ohio State in this one, 31, and Michigan 17.
We have arrived at Nebraska, Iowa. The Hawkeyes are favored by 5.5 points. I think there's hope early, but not enough defense late for Nebraska as Iowa will pop a couple of big runs. Iowa will do what they do, but I don't think it comes down to fourth quarter drama and last second playmaking. A couple of fourth quarter runs are the difference for this Hawkeye squad as Iowa beats and covers Nebraska 28-17. What do you say, Elijah?
I'm kind of there with you, Schmidt. The body blows of Iowa, I think, are going to take their toll. Nebraska hangs tough in the first half, maybe even takes a lead into the halftime break. But I think Iowa just wears on this Nebraska front seven. I think they start popping some runs in the second half. And I think Iowa wins this football game in a game that might be higher scoring than some national folks expect, but this Iowa offense will be able to get some things going. I think Nebraska's offense will be able to get some things going as well. Iowa wins the football game. It's close. It's not a walk-off field goal. 24-20, the Hawkeyes get a win in Lincoln.
Claus, where you at, Nebraska or Iowa?
Well, listen, I don't think Iowa presents the danger that you guys think they do. I mean, Kirk Ferentz's idea of spicing things up is medium paste pecane sauce. His idea of danger is a roundabout. This guy looked at the Rockettes yesterday on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade and thought their kicks looked amateurish. So give me Nebraska in this one, 21, and the Hawkeyes 20. And somehow that is a combination of only field goals and safeties.
Okay. Claus, I love it. Field goals and safeties on Black Friday. Claus, have yourself a great Black Friday and into the weekend. We'll check in again.
Okay.
There he is. He's imaginary. He wears red. It's Clausborne, and he picked Nebraska 21-20. The Friday forecast powered by Bud Light, the official beer of Husker Nation. I know, Phil, it says we're pumping Iowa up like they're the 2000 Ravens. Big thanks to all of you for joining us this morning here on the Black Friday edition of the Average Joe Sports Show. We are back at 2:30 for post-game Real Red Reaction from the bar, 16th and P. Come on by, get a slinky, get warm. And we'll talk about 2025, whether it's 7 or 8 for the number of wins and how the game went today. Elijah, be good. We'll see you in the press box, all of you. Have a great Black Friday. Thanks for tuning in to the Average Joe Sports Show with KFOR, KFORnow.com.